good morning and welcome to the VSA Couple of 5 Minute Morning Miner. And I'm well ensconced down in what is beautiful sunny Cornwall at the moment. And sorry, Ollie, you're back in London, aren't you?
It's not too bad here.
Actually, I'll tell you what, yesterday down here was about 28. And when you're 28 down in Cornwall, it feels 28. Anyway, here we are. It's Monday morning. Obviously, England somehow scraped through their quarter-final and the semi-final, so we'll all be up late watching that on Wednesday. News this morning is a little bit thin on the ground. It's maybe worth just commenting Yellowcake. I mean, they finished their buyback program, but the stock is still pretty low, really, at 527p, isn't it? I called uranium as my sort of pick for the year. We're still a little bit of, nearly got 5 months to go. But it's been rather disappointing, uranium and Yellowcake, hasn't it, Ollie? Don't you think?
Well, the buyback program that they've now completed, which bought back around 258,000 shares, and that was at a VWAP of 536p, with a range of 525 to 545p, hasn't really done a lot to narrow the discount. I think it still stands at about 12-13% if you use the current spot price and the latest pounds of uranium that they've reported of 23.11 million. I don't think that's too different to where it was trading for the amount of uranium they had this time last year when the buyback started, even though, well, I mean, as you say, uranium was a top pick for the year, and the backstory to why the outlook looks good has only strengthened, really. We've talked about some of the supply issues that have happened recently from the larger producers, and how difficult they're finding it not only to increase supply but just to keep it at the level that it's at. And there's not very much in the pipeline that can come on quickly.
I suppose really it's, they're down 10% on the year, which isn't a disaster, but to be in a commodity stock or mining stock and to be down year to date is pretty disappointing, really, because we are in a pretty good bull market for commodities. But hey, there you go. That's that. What else would you like to talk about, Ollie?
There was a deal announced by toubani Resources. There's a bit of a read through to London as the major shareholder, Eagle Eye Asset Management, which is a 34% holder of toubani. It was a similar level in Cora, and for Cora they announced a major gold stream and project financing package a couple of weeks ago. They've done something similar for toubani, which is also in Mali. They'll be putting in a $208 million gold stream, which gives them the right to buy 11% of production at 20% of the spot price. They'll also be holding their corner in a $48 million equity raise, which has been fully underwritten by the Australian brokers, which leaves just 40 million US for the bank debt. But they're perhaps one of the biggest and most active funders in Mali and West Africa. But the terms they can get for this just show you how difficult it is to get funding into these projects in Mali because of the political risk. But clearly, if you've got the strategic capability, then you can get gold extremely cheaply.
Well, we like getting gold extremely cheaply, Ollie. I'll tell you one. I saw it was tipped over the weekend, which was Halo Minerals, and they've got the ex-Camel tailings project, haven't they, in Chile? I noticed that. I mean, it's had a fairly horrendous time, shall we say, since it IPO'd. I've been speaking to a few people who were involved. But they seem to be getting out marketing a bit now. The stock's been creeping up from 8p. It's now 10.8p. We had the management in our offices the other day. I've got to say, I mean, I think it sounded like a pretty sound project. It's one of those projects, until you know all the information, you have to be a little bit wary, but they certainly seem to be getting a bit of oomph behind them and trying to get back to where they were at the IPO price. So maybe one for a few people who are watching it to either stick with it because you bought it or you're long it and whatever. I can see that one creeping up a little bit. What do you think, Ollie?
Well, I mean, one of the challenges for Camel whilst they held it was that the environmental permitting could take a long time, and it did. It took about 6 years, but that has been achieved just before the IPO, and it was one of the conditions that allowed management to IPO the company. But that was a major milestone and does actually unlock the development of the project. So they will actually be able to work and de-risk it up to project financing now. So that's a major milestone on what has been, clearly an interesting project for some time, but held back by the permitting regime.
Yeah, and I think South America in general, there's no question about that. The United States is starting to see the Americas as the Americas, and it's probably going to take more interest in South America because of their fantastic mineral resources, which probably starts to make them look quite an interesting area to go. The problem, of course, we have in the UK is most of them are on the TSX. But yeah, here is one possible opportunity that could be very interesting. Right, I think that's about it, isn't it, Ollie?
I think so.
Yeah, all right, no problem. We'll be back tomorrow.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.